And we're back. It's been over a month and a half, I think, since you and I have sat across from each other at this table.
At least, yes.
And so it's good to see you. Yeah. We haven't actually had much time to catch up. We saw each other briefly the other night, but it's good to see you. You've been on vacation, resting, had a longer season of rest.
Yeah, 7 weeks.
I was out most of July. My family took a...
How was that direct on...
The direct flight from St. Louis to London is incredible. It's the best thing to ever happen to Lambert Airport.
Do you like British Airways, though? Do you like... I found their planes to be not as good as...
They've taken me where I needed to go each time successfully. Okay. So I've not had any significant issues. I like them. I probably like it more than some of the American flights I've been on. Yeah. But I don't know. I used to be able to fly business and first class American. That's a pretty sweet
because your dad worked for American.
Because my dad worked for American Airlines. So those privileges
wasn't a part of your benefits package.
Are more limited now, unfortunately. Yeah. But yep, that sustained my wife and I's relationship while we were long distance dating. So, but yeah, the flight was incredible. One airplane to the UK and back is just incredible, and we had a great time too. Got to see a lot of family and friends, and that was, I think, the last time we've been there was 7 years ago. So, like all of us.
And for those who don't know, your wife is from UK.
Yes, so from Brighton originally, but we.
Where do their parents live now?
Her parents live in Cardiff, Wales, which is on the west coast.
So if you're, how far is that from London?
It's like 3.5 hours, I think it was, from London.
And so you flew into London, then drove?
And then drove, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Her parents picked us up. They had to pick us up in 2 separate cars.
Oh, gosh.
Nothing's able to fit a family of 7 over there.
A 3.5 drive in the UK is like taking a 15-hour drive in the United States.
Yeah, so they felt it, but we appreciated it. And then gas is like twice as much over there, too. So it's a lot to haul our family from.
There's a reason why people came from the UK to America.
Yeah, there's a reason they still do, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, how was your time away? Your time off?
It was glorious. I'm not someone who rests well. Like, I have a productivity addiction, and so for me to, like, if I'm just sitting around, if I can't do something, I just get really antsy. And even something as simple as taking vacation is, I do it because I love hanging out with my family but like, if it's just for me, I'm just like, if I can play golf every once in a while, if I can just like, chill out and watch some sports, I'm typically fine. But I've taken long breaks before and I didn't like it because of I think probably immaturity, but I think this time it was great. And a few things about it. I mean, I did some rhythms that helped. I mean, just like some exercise rhythms and really wanting to get back on track on that. There were some projects around the house that have just gone undone that that took away stress, I should say, in doing them. So it felt good to get those things accomplished. I mean, things involving like, wills and power of attorney and blah, blah, some of that stuff. And like, just was always out there, but never really nailed down, as well as a garage organization project, which was needed. But then like some vacation, we went to the mountains for a bit.
Which mountains did you get to?
North Carolina.
Okay. Was it just you guys?
My family, yes. Yeah, me and the family. And I like to fish and kayak. And so I got the kayak out and fished a few different times. And like to camp, I have an old camper, so we took the old camper out a few different times. But mainly just a lot of just like chilling out at home and spending a lot of time with Rach, which was really good. And we had a great time. And it gave me all this to say, like, it really gave me a vision too for rest and vacation, which I'm sure if I look back at my history, that I'm probably like maybe would use like 50% of my vacation.
Allotted vacation time?
A lot of vacation time.
Interesting.
Just because I like to do stuff. It's not because I don't feel overworked. I don't feel stressed out. I've never felt that. It's just, but I think I saw the purpose in, or let me say it a different way. I saw like the real benefit in me not doing those things, probably for the first time. And, you know, I think I've gotten really good at taking days off. So, and that's probably only been true for like the past decade or so. I'd say for the first 10 or 15 years of my life, like even taking a day off was hard. And, but now, I mean, not hard, but just kind of like, I just want to do something. I'd want to.
Maybe it wasn't as enjoyable.
Yeah, it just wasn't like, and I think it was wrong stuff. It was the whole idea around Sabbath is that about a trust in what God can do, not what you can do. And so a lack of rest just reflects a lack, I think, for a Christian anyway, a lack of trust in what God can do and an overemphasis on what you can do. So these are all like, this is like, you know, confession. Like, but so I was really encouraged to see how much I enjoyed it and benefited from it. And there was times where I had some time to really think about the church, and God really gave me some thoughts about the future, both for Jubilee as well as what we're doing together in Confluence, and a few thoughts about maybe another book. But I mean, it's just like, you know, I'm just driving down the road thinking about stuff. It's not like
all kind of daydreaming.
Yeah, I'm not like, I wasn't grinding or anything. So it was great. All to say, it's great. Feel really fresh. Super excited to get back. It was actually sad to end. I mean, my wife actually cried when I told her, like, hey, tomorrow I go back to work. She'd start crying. And just because it was like, it was a good time. It wasn't bad. It was just kind of like, man, that was a really great time. So we had a really rich time, really grateful for it. But yeah, I'm just excited to get back into, I mean, we're in the week of prayer right now. We're recording this on is it today the 5th?
Wednesday the 5th. Yep.
Wednesday the 5th. It'll probably be, it may get released later than that. But we're in the week of prayer, which I love, and going to get back into Timothy soon and some fall series about family design and just really interested to get back in there and move the ball down the field and see more people saved and the church advance. So yeah. You were talking about rest and trust and how those things are correlated. What do you think it is that rest is meant to do for us as it relates to our relationship with God? Like, how does that connect with trust? Well, it's so you probably heard this, but like the Christianity is more about receiving than giving. It's learning to be a good receiver. The whole setup is not what we do for God, but what God does for us. And our whole relationship is dependent upon grace. So even Jesus said, you know, I've not come to be served. I've come to serve. In other words, in this relationship that I have with you, you're not going to serve me. I'm going to serve you. And so the way that God has set it up is that we are the dependent ones, and He is the strong one. We are the weak. He's strong. You know, we're dependent. He's independent. And so part of like living the Christian life is learning to position yourself as a dependent person. My friend Jeremy, who spoke at Sunset Hills last Sunday on the 2nd, talked about like, actually we need to be needy people, which that sounds like a bad word, especially if you like to produce and achieve type A types, but we need to be needy people. So the idea of being dependent, that was the whole setup in the Sabbath. So when God instituted the Sabbath, and all the things that He instituted, all the festivals, even the tithe, is that the main thing that you need to do is you need to recognize where everything comes from, and everything comes from God. So you resting on the day. So everybody else in the world has to work 7 days in order to eat 7 days. I want you to work 6, and I want you to trust me that you're going to eat 7 days, basically. And so back then it was probably more of an act of faith than it would be for us. We would see a day off as a reward. But biblically, it's not a reward; it's an act of faith. And even how it you know, you probably heard this before, but even how when you think about the Hebrew day, it starts with night and then day. And so the idea that God instituted the day to start with rest, into work, not work so that you can rest. So as Americans, we work so that we can rest. So resting and receiving His grace is something that we have to press into. So that's why if you read Hebrews, it's always been strange to me in Hebrews 3, It says strive to enter his rest, which is like, that sounds weird. Like,
how can those two words be in the same sentence?
What you can, if rest is like chilling out, rest is like easy. Rest is on the beach, but the rest is like enter into a place where you're just, I'm trusting God. Yes, I could be earning something right now. I could be producing something right now. I'm getting behind. So those of us who have this achievement thing feel that. And so you're not just taking a day off because you're exhausted and you can't do anymore. You're taking a day off to trust and say, you know what? Even if I miss out on whatever, like I don't want to trust in my provision. I want to trust in God's provision. So it's a real act of faith. For some, it's like, I get it. Like some people are lazy and it's just like, but like for myself anyway, it's an act of faith. And I'm just going to trust that this is okay.
Yeah, no, that's good. And I think the aspect of recognizing our neediness is tough for us in this culture. I mean, I was preaching on prayer this Sunday, and the opening line to the text from Psalm 86 is David declaring, I am needy. Yeah. Those words specifically. And is like the foundation for his prayer, this dependence and recognizing. And it's like, I think we're in this culture that almost like celebrates self-reliance, and there's this trajectory of like, we're meant to be more and more independent and self-reliant as we get older, but almost biblically, it's like, feels like the older we get, the more we should recognize actually how dependent we are on God. It's Him who provides He gives us faith. He gives us breath. It's like He's sustaining. All these aspects of our neediness for Him. Recognizing that actually more and more. I wonder if that's the trajectory for us. As the older we get, the more actually we realize how dependent we are on Him for everything that we need. The breath in our lungs is borrowed. The money in our account is given. All these things are sourced from Him. And so, I think that's maybe goes against the grain for a lot of us, is recognizing, sitting with that like recognition, like I'm needy. I actually need God. Not just for breakthrough, but for, whatever it is, through the day. So would you, how important then is the idea of, Sabbath or sabbaticals? Like, should we as Christians be, Jesus said, like, he fulfilled, a lot of those things in His coming. How should we interact with those themes, in 2026 as it relates to us as Christians?
Yeah, I think there's probably two extremes that I'd want to keep people from. One would just be some like hyper legalistic thing about the Sabbath, and because the Pharisees try to make it that, and Jesus is like, hey, the Sabbath is for man, not man isn't for Sabbath. So I wouldn't want people to get caught up in some legalism. But I do think it is a good practice to like fight to have a day. So to fight to have a day that's unto the Lord. And so that would involve like something that you're it's a day of gratitude. It's a day of doing things that you enjoy. I think doing things that cause you to, whatever it is that it causes you to like, hey, I'm not going to just busy myself. This is gonna be a day I'm gonna give to the Lord, and I think that's a really good practice. And some days it's not always possible, and sometimes you have a life situation to where that can't happen. And I wouldn't want someone to be under something that they can't do. And some people have schedules that shift around all the time, and so getting a day on the same day isn't. So there's all these exceptions and caveats. But I would say, especially to those who achieve and are successful, like that you're you're working and working and working to try to build something, and I think I'd say, hey, what is the reason? And you may say, well, my family's security or whatever, and I get all that. And same thing. I mean, I felt like the things I was doing was fairly righteous. Like I'm doing things for the church or whatever. Mm-hmm. So you can add whatever righteousness element, but in 1 Samuel it says, God desires obedience over sacrifice, mm-hmm. and He doesn't need us to do stuff for Him. He needs us to be under His. So I think I would just encourage guys to like, hey, sell less, make less, do less if you have to, but to try to fight to bring rest into your life, that where you're giving a day, you're like, hey, today's a day I'm just going to enjoy and be with my family and do what make it a grateful day. And for many people that may just be Sunday. That's what you do on Sunday. Sunday is that day, and that's mm-hmm. great. So I do think it's helpful to find those pockets of rest, and to see rest as something that is a gift from God, not just something you deserve. Mm-hmm. And I think many Americans just get caught up in like, I'm going to go on vacation because I deserve it. I'm going to go on this weekend thing because I deserve it. And like they're working for the weekend. They're working in order to rest. And I'd say, I think of it a little bit different. I think of a rest as like, hey, this is a God-given thing. And God wants to restore something to you. So make the most of your rest, if you can put it that way. So
yeah, that's good. Is there anything at stake for us to not do this? I mean, is there things that you think that you maybe missed out on in the earlier season of your leadership and ministry, not doing some of this stuff as much?
I think a lot of it's rooted in insecurity. I mean, I would have never thought it was insecure, but I think I was afraid of getting behind. And if you read any of the productivity gurus, they're just like, you work 12-hour days and everybody's working 8 over the course of a year. You're just like, you're going to lap people. Mm-hmm. And there's a reality to that. And so so I think part of it was insecurity. So one is getting more secure in who God's called me to be and made me to be. I think it's also a quotient of confidence in what God can do, and a lack of confidence what I can do. And I think part of it, so that those are the big things. I think like a sanctification is at work. And I think also the older you get, you just get more perspective. Mm-hmm. And, there's a toil that, like the Ecclesiastes kind of language is like, hey, it's all vanity, it's all meaningless, everything under the sun. And, I talked about this in my book in, I think chapter 3 about Solomon. Like he pursued all these things, and one of them was just productivity. And like, mm-hmm. I did all these things, and it didn't do what I thought it would do. And so I think it's also just kind of realizing that at the end of the day, I'll never be lazy. I'll never fall off. I'll never go into that ditch, but just, I think realizing like, hey, I need to rest for me, and I need to rest for my family. Like I'm getting ready to, my youngest is 16, my oldest is 22. I'm getting ready to get into empty nestville. And like, I think just recognizing that season to where like, I want my marriage to be great. I want my relationship with my kids to be great. And like, that only happens in order for relationships to go well, you just need margin. Mm-hmm. And that's the other thing rest does, is if you have margin in your life, that's conducive for relationships. If you don't have it, you're just not going to have a good relationship. So I think it's also a recognition of like, I want to make sure that I'm leaving space for relationship.
Yeah.
So even if I don't have anything to do, I'm just going to sit there on the couch and see who walks by, and mm-hmm. Maybe we'll strike up a conversation, versus just like, I got to go do something.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's good. Or having to like schedule time with your family versus just like, hey,
which we do that too.
We got space, and you can interact and those natural settings. Yeah, it's really good. Yeah. One of the things that we have on the trajectory for this month is our Next Gen Sunday coming up. And might have already taken place by the time
we do it different times depending on what location you're in. Yep. So August the 9th, if you're in
Sunset Hills.
Sunset Hills.
Yeah.
August the 16th if you are in any other location.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, it's just the two big things we're about. Well, the big thing that we're about is Jesus and the gospel.
Yeah.
And so the gospel moves in two different directions. It moves geographically. Mm-hmm. So it goes from city to city, neighborhood to neighborhood, nation to nation. And it moves generationally. And so we're trying to plant more churches to see it to move out geographically. We're engaged in the nations to move out. I mean, I got a trip in later in December to India to train some Nepali pastors, and the work there is just growing and multiplying. And we want to be involved in the nations. I'm going to be in Mexico in September, and the gospel is really moving to the Spanish-speaking world. Which, by the way, my book is now available in Spanish.
Hey,
I forget the title. It's called. Can you yell it out?
Echo Paramos.
Echo Paramos. That's a new title of my book in Spanish.
I like it.
And so it's available on Amazon right now. I think it's on sale for cheaper than what you can get the English version.
Yeah.
But
muy bien.
But I'm going to go down there, and we're going to do Confluence, going to do Mexico. So we're involved in the nation. We want to see it happen geographically, but also generationally. Psalm 145, commend the works of God from one generation to another. And that is the way it's supposed to go. And so that's why we're big on Next Gen. That's why we're big on J-Kids and youth and internships. And so we just want to be intentional about putting that vision in front of people, that we're not trying to build something to ourselves. We're trying to build something to give to the next generation and pass on. And we want it to be in their hands as soon as we possibly can. So we take a day a year. We typically do it after New Day, the youth conference, which was, the best ever. I mean, there's over 300 kids there, over 100 from Jubilee. 35 people gave their life to Jesus. I think 17 from Jubilee. Anyway, just bonkers.
Yeah.
What God's doing in the Next Gen. And we're seeing a surgence, thank God, we're seeing a surgence of young people coming to faith, to where like now Gen Z, I think, has the highest church attendance among any generation, more than boomers, more than Gen X, more than, what's your generation called? Millennials.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, you're millennials. You're the worst.
You tell me.
You're the worst.
Is that part of being a millennial, is not knowing what generation you're in?
No, it's just...
it's just a me thing.
What's that?
That's just a me thing. Got it. Yeah.
I think you're just sad that you're not in the spotlight anymore.
Maybe. I don't even know that I was in the spotlight at one point. So
no, you were in the spotlight.
Yeah,
but it's over.
It's over. Our time is gone.
So a lot of cool things are happening in young people, and so we're excited about what God's doing. So there's two reasons why. I mean, one, it's the gospel imperative that we be about the next generation, and we're just ensuring that we're doing that. So we're always going to be front loaded toward young people, and it's not because young people are better, and it's not like some ageism thing. It's just that if you are a mature Christian, you're going to want to see how I can get to the gospel to the next city, and how can I get the gospel to the next generation. Mm-hmm. If you're a Christian and all you're concerned about is yourself and you're in like your world, like
your preferences,
you've missed the plot. Like you've missed the plot. And so we want to keep that vision in front of us to go to the next generation. Like I said, and we want to respond to what God's doing. God right now is moving in that generation, and we want to be in on whatever that is. So we take this day to cast vision for it. And it's really cool. It's really cool too when I think about just where we've been as a church. And you and I were in a meeting today where we were planning out our 30th anniversary. Can you believe that? Next February 2027 next year. Mm-hmm. We are planted, and Jubilee was planted in February of 97. And so we turn 30 next February. So we want to celebrate the big years. And so
3 decades.
Do you remember what dates we settled on for our celebration?
Well, it was looking at kicking it off on Easter Sunday.
We're going to kick it off on Easter Sunday, which is March something.
The last Sunday in March.
Last Sunday in March.
28th maybe or something.
We're going to do a month of celebration.
Yeah.
3 months in April. So, I mean, just thinking through like 30 years, we're going to look back at what God has done, and we're going to look forward to what God will do. And we just want to always be that church. I mean, in fact, that's the only way to be a church, is to be front-footed, is to thank God for where you've like what he's done. For sure. We want to be grateful, but to never stay settled in that, and always be willing to do whatever we can to look forward. And so it's just cool thinking about 30 years. It's cool thinking about how this church got started, and John Lamferman, who started this church when he was essentially my age now, 50. Just can't imagine taking that kind of risk at 50.
It's a big adjustment.
Thank God that he did. And he started the church, and he just prayed for him and a couple other guys that were Rick Hine, some would know, and Sam Poe would probably be less known, but those guys just gathered every week and they prayed for young people. And young people started showing up, and the rest is history. And so like we started with this, in the very foundation of our church was a desire and an understanding that in order to be a gospel people, in order to be a missional people, in order to be an effective church, like we have to be thinking about, we always have to be thinking about the next generation. So, and
you were one of those young people that you were one of those answers to prayer, you know?
Yeah. I stumbled in when I was 22.
Yeah. Still in college, right?
No, I graduated college. I just graduated college. Okay. I was about a month out of college, and I got, and I wasn't, anyway, that's a different story, but
But now, you know, celebrating this 30-year mark, we're doing the same thing. We're looking back with thankfulness, but also looking forward to who's the next, 20-year-old guy who God's calling, who's the next, 15-year-old.
Yeah.
That's, God wants to bring through and bring up. And so, full circle moment, I think we could experience, at this anniversary.
Absolutely.
So looking forward to that. What are you hoping the church would maybe get a hold of, during these weeks? How are you hoping we respond
are you talking
to
about
that?
like the Next Gen Sunday, or are you talking about the anniversary?
Yeah, I mean, I think to some degree both. I mean, there's going to be some overlap, I would imagine, of just like the themes that we're covering. But I mean, what's your hope for how the church would latch onto these things?
Human beings forget pretty easily. Yeah. And it's one of the biggest commands, as you know, in the Bible, is to remember. And we just forget what we're supposed to be doing and why we're supposed to be doing it. And so one is just to be reminded of our ultimate purpose and why we're here on earth. We're not here on earth to get a paycheck. We're not here on earth to, collect a few toys and have a few laughs. That's not why we're here. We're here to fulfill the purposes of God. So this all of history is accumulating into this moment where it seeks to bring glory to God, and he's after a family. And the way he's going to bring glory to himself is he's going to gather a family from every tribe and tongue. And so our purpose is tied up into to God. So anytime we don't engage anyway, so like we just forget that all the time. Yeah. We get caught up in 9 to 5, we get caught up in all kinds of stuff. And so one is just that people are reminded of like why they're here on earth. Yeah. And the importance of what we're up to. And so that's probably the biggest thing, is that, and that they see God's faithfulness in it. They see God's power in it. Like, I mean, when I just think about the Next Gen, I mean, we've been doing this for several years, and every year is like, hey guys, it got a little worse out there. We got to, we got to pray a little more. But man, it's encouraging to see the tide turn and to see what God is up to. And so, we want to, like, that's God's power. Like, we didn't do that. We didn't, our church didn't do anything. There's no church in America that affected that. God just sovereignly moved. Yeah. So before, it was more of a cry to say, hey, we need to pay attention to something that's not going well. And now it's the thing is like, hey, look at what God's doing. Look at his power is at work. He is faithful to fulfill his promises. And so one is that I hope people get envisioned for their purpose, but I also hope that they see the faithfulness of God in this and they don't take it for granted. Like I mean, someone who has teenagers, like I'm glad he's on the move in this generation.
Yeah.
Like really grateful for it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think I think recognizing our partnership with God, like it's not this 30-year thing is not just like, oh, look how great Jubilee is, but look how great God is. And the whole reason we exist is to partner with him in his mission and his goal, what he's wanting to do in the earth, and really capturing people up into that of like, hey, we've still got a calling on our life. Yeah. We've still got an identity as a church who are committed to following Jesus, to the ends of the earth, and just being, partnering with him and what he's wanting to do, in that. So I think I'm excited for, I remember the 25-year one, in so many ways did that. I mean, I think it was just like hey, let's put our chips back on the table. Just say, hey, our lives let's give ourselves to this, let's give ourselves to what God's called us to do. He's called us to so much more than, attending a service. He's called us to live a life that's following him, that's trusting him, that's obeying him and, partnering with what he's wanting to do. Yeah. And so, looking forward to that.
Great.
Anything else that you were on your heart or mind?
I've got a lot on my heart and mind, but it's probably a good place to stop here.
Yeah, there will be more to come.
See you next week.
See ya.